Good morning. I thought I'd start off the week with a little update on my job search and a little walk. I walked down to the little courtyard area that we have, and actually our pool should be open, but I checked the lock. The code works, but someone put a bike lock on it, so I don't know what is going on there. So I have to figure that out, which is, another one of those life things that you have to just deal with when they pop up. So let's see, what is going on? Well, what's going on this morning is I took a little tiny walk. It's very short, and I made a little protein drink, not in that order. Um, and I'll show you how I made this. This is just my little, what do I call it? I call it my busy day latte. My busy day caramel latte. It's basically espresso and a caramel protein shake. And it's a great way to start the day if you're busy and you don't want to deal with breakfast. It gives you like 30 grams of protein, which we love. And actually that's honestly my baseline. I try to get 30 at each meal at least. And so if it's not 30, I'm not super interested in it. Now, sometimes you throw in the things that are like zero protein for snacks and things, and not really what you want to do, but life happens and we have to adjust. And so part of my adjustment is trying to get all the protein that I can in meals. But we'll get back to that later. So I made some lists because I feel like I'm always talking and going off on tangents, and I want to try to stay on topic. So I made some notes. And basically, my thing today is like, I'm not even working. Why am I so exhausted? Why is this so exhausting? Such a tiring phase of life. So I came up with a list of reasons why I'm exhausted. So, you might not be working, but the job search is definitely work. You're tailoring your resume and crafting cover letters, and that takes a lot of time. You can be excited about something that you're applying for, and it's such a loop. You get excited, you craft all the materials, you send it off into the ether, and then what? You're waiting. And waiting and waiting, and sometimes you hear nothing, and sometimes it's like, thanks but no thanks. And the thanks but no thanks email is like, well, okay, sure. So last week I applied actually for something for the federal government, and they sent me an email like a week later that said, the first bullet point was, you're eligible for this position. And I was like, oh, cool. And the second bullet point was, but we didn't send you on to the hiring manager. And I was like, we didn't refer you to the hiring manager. And I was like, okay, well, so it's like, oh. Do you remember in Shrek when, I think it was, yeah, it's in Shrek when Pinocchio is like, I'm a real boy. And then he turns back into the boy and he's like, quest for a screening call. Well, so it was called a screening call. And then, so I did it, and it sounds lovely. I've got my fingers crossed for this one because I would really, really like this job. And so she called it a screening, and then she called it, the next step would be a second round interview. And I was like, hang on a second, where's the, so we went from screening to second round, and I was like, I don't know. So every job posting, every company, every agency calls their stuff something different. So you have to ask a lot of questions and make sure you understand what's going on. So I did ask about timing, and I got some details about that while we were talking, which was good. So don't be afraid to ask those questions. It's important. So you can, and cars are going by because it's a Monday and there's lots of work. Oh, there's lots of work going on around here. Hopefully some of that work will be coming to unlock my freaking pool. Like I'm not working, I want to be able to use my pool. I don't usually get to use it in the summer because guess what? I was at work and now I'm not, and they put a bike lock on it. What is going on? Hopefully I'll get an answer to that today. I'm trying my best, y'all. So keep your fingers crossed for me on that one. I'm excited about it, and I hope that I hope something comes from it. So part of that hoping is like you're doing further prep on, like right now, I'm doing further prep on that organization and figuring out how there's a spider. See, this is why I don't spend time in nature. Like, please go away, little spider. No, don't come closer. Blech. Part of that hoping is that you are trying to plan for an interview and like figure out what questions they might ask and how you can frame yourself in the best light, I guess, but also authentically and trying to align your goals with theirs. And part of that also is that you have, these people don't know you. And this is something that I am struggling with right now, especially with the things that have happened when I had interviews and I thought something was going to happen and it didn't. And I was left thinking, well, what did I do wrong? And it's nothing, I really don't think that it's anything I did wrong. Part of also doing these videos is that I can see myself on camera and kind of get a view of what other people see, because those things are not something that you get to see. You look in the mirror, but you don't know what you're like when you're not looking in the mirror. So having that level of self-awareness, I think, is also important. And so I'm trying really hard on that front, just to try to frame myself better and be a little more eloquent, even though I think I'm a pretty good communicator anyway. But especially with people you don't know and somebody that you don't have a daily rapport with in the respect of a job yet, they don't know you and they don't know your thought processes, and you have a very short amount of time to be able to get all that across. Like an hour. In an hour, you need someone to understand what you're about. And it's a fine line. It's kind of a tightrope when you're walking, when you're thinking, okay, how can I align their needs with mine and communicate all of that and be myself and figure out how you can go forward and be yourself. There's someone walking by and now I'm self-conscious about what I'm saying. But just be able to be authentic and also show off your skills and not boast. It's so that a spider has now found its way onto my camera. Oh, you guys. No, this is why I don't come outside. Go away. I don't want to kill it. I'm in its territory. Okay, I'm just going to ignore it for a bit. Now, if you see it crawl across the screen, crawl across the camera, that'll be weird, won't it? Okay, well, I have the camera front facing anyway, so we'll see. But there's a lady walking by with her dog. Okay, so what's next? So yes, I feel like it's kind of like dating, the interview process, because you're looking for chemistry, and chemistry counts for a lot, even though it's not like a physical chemistry like you would be looking for when you're dating. Here, I think it's more like culture and fit and communication style and wanting to be part of an organization that you'll be happy to be a part of. And, I really am looking to grow some roots somewhere. That's what my career has been based on. Okay, she went away after her dog like barked at me. He was kind of mad. I don't know. He didn't see me for the longest time, and then when he did, he was just like rawr, rawr, rawr. Monday mornings in the community. I also saw a house is for sale, so I gotta look that up and see what's up with that. I like to look at the pictures and see if they've done something more interesting than what I've done in mine. because it's such a small space. We'll have to get into that too. See, that's part of this too, and all of it, it's just like all of it comes together. There's nothing, you can kind of segment yourself from your career self and your home self, but eventually it all comes back. It all comes back together, and you have to remember that. So I talked about the part of the hope is like framing yourself and figuring out how to answer questions. I want to be sure that I'm being myself and thinking of all the things that I want people to know about me. It's a lot of pressure, but you have to do it or you're not going to get anywhere. So you kind of have to get to a point where you're just like, this is what I am, and this is who I am, and this is what I can offer you. I interviewed a lot of people, and there was one person I remember who came in and said, here's what I can do for you. And here's what I do, and here's what I would do for you. And that always stuck out to me, and that is something that I want to include in my my communication to whoever it is that I end up dedicating my career to next. And it is pressure. The trick is that there's no real trick, just like in dating. It's just hard work of being prepared and being yourself. The last job I had, I remember going into that interview, I laid it all out and I said, here's what I do, here's what I've done for 20 years, and I really want to be a part of this thing that you're doing. And for whatever reason, that worked. So I guess I need to try that again. If you're looking for a job, try to be yourself and just be prepared. And be confident, but not cocky. That's my advice. And I've interviewed a lot of people, but when I was interviewing people, it was more like yes or no. It wasn't, we have to interview 15 people and choose one. I also wonder how there's so much that you don't know going on behind the scenes, like how many people are they interviewing, and how many people applied, and how many people this, and how many that. And a question that I like to ask when I'm interviewing is, what does success look like in this role to you? And 6 months, a year, or whatever. What is it that you want to have accomplished? Because that can also give you a frame of reference and talking points. So that's the first one. That's only one. Number one was the job search is exhausting and a lot of work. It's a job in itself. So number two is navigating the unknown. The paperwork is a lot. It's very challenging. The unemployment process is exhausting and confusing and a little scary because, they pop up the notices like, make sure that you're telling the truth. And then you question yourself, am I telling the truth? When of course you are. Well, of course I am. But you start to doubt, what is the truth? It's like one time a cop came to the door and knocked on the door and I was thinking, oh my God, what did I do? And I'm like, now stop it. I didn't do anything. I did nothing. But is that true? Did I do something? Oh my gosh. No, I didn't. He was looking for a neighbor. Anyway, so that's part of the process of not knowing what is going on. Unemployment is really hard. I've had some struggles with that, and you fill out the paperwork and then you just wait and see if the money comes. If the money doesn't come, then there's a problem and you have to call somebody. But it's hard to get a real person on the phone. I had some insurance issues recently that James was trying to put me on his, and they kept saying that my paperwork was denied, and so we kept sending different paperwork, and finally we had to call somebody, and when we got somebody on the phone, they're like, no, you're covered for everything except this one thing, which was my life insurance. So hopefully nothing happens with that right now. Then I couldn't get any because they wanted proof that I had lost my life insurance, and I'm like, well, I don't have any paperwork for that. So we were trying to call the company that had my life insurance, and they're like, we can't give it to you. You have to get it from the company that you worked for. And I'm like, I don't know. So that was like the last day we had to be able to file paperwork for that. So if you do have a life event, you usually only get 30 to 60 days to get all the paperwork in. And I would err on the side of 30 because that's what we had. And if you happen to actually get 60 days, that's great. But err on the side of 30, get it done quickly because it's a headache and you don't want to run up against the deadline like we did. So I think we got everything squared away for now, but it's hard. It's hard. Every step of the process has felt unnecessarily difficult. Keep all of your paperwork. If something comes in the mail for something from your previous job, if you get laid off, keep it. Just keep it in a file, dump them all in there if you don't want to look at them. Sometimes it's hard to deal with that stuff because it feels so heavy, but it's important to keep those things and keep them in a place where you can access it easily. Put it in an envelope, just put them all in an envelope and set them aside. I have like a mail thing that I've been keeping things in, but then when I walk in the kitchen, there's all that stuff staring at me, reminding me, yeah, you lost your job. So that's no fun. A car's coming. So someone came and unlocked the gate, unlocked the bike lock so that we can open the gate. Apparently people have been getting in there at night. So I don't know, but now I can go to the pool. Okay, where were we? We were talking about paperwork. That stuff is heavy and makes me anxious, and I don't like it. So if you can stash that stuff away somewhere where you don't have to be confronted with it every 5 seconds every time you go into a certain room, then that will probably be helpful. But also don't bury your head in the sand. You probably need to open it and make sure that there's nothing in there that you have to deal with immediately, because later, putting it off is gonna create a problem for later, and you don't want to cause yourself bigger problems than you already have. Okay, so those are the things. No, there's more. There's more. Okay, let's see. So there's navigating the unknown, and then also there's navigating all the emotions that come with the job loss and looking for a job and being part of the process of job searching, because that's exhausting. I loved the job that I had, and I loved the people that I worked with, and I miss being there and interacting with everyone, and it's hard to mourn that life. That life is gone, and I have to get over it and move on. I was visiting my family this weekend, and my stepmom was like, "It's exciting, new chapters," and I'm like, "It's a new chapter," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's a new chapter." And I said it's hard, and I don't necessarily like it. And she said, "Well, you don't like it right now, but it's because you're in the middle of it." And what's that song? You're in the middle of the ride, and things are gonna work out. I can't remember. I wish I could remember the lyrics because it's actually. I love that one. Things will turn out okay. Obviously, you have to do the things that you need to do and that you're supposed to do and work hard to get to that point. But you're in the middle of the ride, and you have to remember that there is an end point, and you got to get through the middle first. So, sometimes we need people to remind us of that too. People who are usually the cheerleaders and the stability of a group, the stable people in your life. When they go through hard times, it's kind of, it shakes me a little more because I have always been that stable person. Like, I had the same job for more than 20 years. It's a hard place to be in. And if you haven't picked up on it, it's a difficult spot. But I'm doing the work, y'all. I'm doing the work. So yeah, navigating the emotions is exhausting, and life is changing right now. The youngest has graduated high school. She's going to be off to college in the fall, and my cat is gone, and we have a new one that we're trying to acclimate. And our older cat is not super happy about it. She's better this week, but like last week and the week before, last week was okay. The week before that, not so much. She's just kind of like, if my cat could talk, she would be like, WTF? Like, are you serious? Which is funny because I have this picture of when she first joined us and Pete, the cat who just died, him looking at us that way. And she's in the background in the window, and he's just like, really? So she messed with him the same way that Sai messes with her now. So it's all a cycle. Poor kitties. But sometimes I do feel like a failure for losing my job and like not finding one immediately. And I'm really hard on myself. And maybe you are too. And maybe we need to just like chill out a little bit. I'm trying. I don't really have the chill. We were we were laughing one time because right after I got laid off, we were talking about relaxing, and James telling me that I needed to just take a break. And I'm like, I don't know if I can take a break. I was like, I like to relax. I like to relax. And he's like, no, you don't. But I do. I mean, but it has to be in a manner which I don't have to worry about all the other things around me. And right now, that is just not the case. It's not the case. So that's number 3, navigating the emotions. Number 4 is, life is interrupted right now. There are plans that I had for the house and for our lives and for our summer that are just interrupted, and they're not going to happen. And we have to be okay with that right now. Like, I wanted to do stuff to the house. A few years ago, we got a new roof. I'm about to finish paying for that. And I was really looking forward to like getting the floors done and expanding our pantry. And what else? Deal with the front porch and the back porch. When we bought our house in 2017, it was a rental, so it needed a lot of work. Some work has been done to it, but there just wasn't a lot of time or money to put into the house. And so we have done what we can do when we can do it. And I guess that's just how life works. It's just how life works. So right now, I would love to be able to do the floors and the porches and the pantry and deal with the yard. And a lot of that stuff is just going to have to come from my own 2 hands. And I'm not great at all those things. My dad is a woodworker and a contractor, and he can do all that stuff. He knows how, but he's getting older and he can't do the stuff that he used to do. And he also lives a few hours away. So when we get in dire straits, he does come and help. And I'm so thankful for that. There's been a few times that he's come to the rescue, like quite literally. And I'm very thankful for that. James is pretty handy. He can do a lot of stuff, but he's in pain all the time and he has a full-time job. So, and he's up at 4:30 in the morning to go to work. And when he gets home, I don't like to be like, hey, let's do yard work. So that's, it's just life, no matter what. So, because I was thinking like, well, sure, I have time now, but the time that I used to dedicate to my job is now dedicated to trying to find a new job. And I'm still trying to do all the things that I did at home in the first place. And I just always feel behind on everything. Like, I haven't found a job. The house is not in immaculate condition. But is it supposed to be? We live there. So I've tried to like let go of things being perfect in the house, because it's not. And we live there. And it's not just me. It's other people who live there too. And I want them to feel at home and not feel on pins and needles when they're, when they're in rooms. So we do have kind of a policy on cleaning up the downstairs, which is the common, our common areas. The house is small and it gets overwhelmed quickly by stuff. and that just makes me feel like the walls are closing in. The other part of 4 is like James and I have joked that when I lost my job, I joked that I was going to be a trophy wife. That was my new career plan. And it's not really my career plan, but it was just funny to think about and to just say like, oh, well, screw it. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay home and be a trophy wife. No. But anyway, I also feel like now that plan has kind of morphed into being a house elf, because I feel like I'm doing stuff around the house all the time because I'm there, and things need to be picked up a lot. And it's basically my world right now, so it's easy to hyper focus on trying to keep everything in its place or create places for things. And I want to develop some longer range plans for the space, but I get overwhelmed pretty quickly because when I consider the aesthetic things that I want to do, I realize that there are bigger things like infrastructure stuff that should probably be done first. And then I'm like, well, I can't redo the floors right now, so I might as well not do anything. Well, that's not necessarily what you should do. And I don't want to do anything too permanent. And I'm also like, I don't know what colors I want on the wall. There was some problems with the walls in the kitchen because there was wallpaper on there at some point. And it's funny because there's the house was built in the 70s and there's a 1970s border still on the wall, which how did we do that? It was behind, I think they put up like a chair rail, and we took the chair rail down, and behind it was the 70s border. So we tried to take that off, but it pulled off the drywall. And then we were like, well, we'll just do all of that. So then we were trying to, and I think they painted over wallpaper with oil paint. And so, that gets weird. So there's a lot of spots on the wall where we started to try to take stuff off, but it was ripping off the drywall. So we had to stop. And so it's just kind of stayed like that for a while. And I don't really know how to deal with that right now. And James would like to redo the drywall, but that's a mess. And the house is small and we need to use the kitchen. And so I feel like probably a lot of the stuff is probably going to happen when the youngest goes off to college and we don't have to use the kitchen as much. So that's, longer range plans for those things. But it's frustrating to technically have the time to do stuff, but not necessarily the money. Next weekend, we're planning to do some work on the backyard. We don't spend a lot of time out there because of mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are terrible. And we found kind of a way to try to deal with those without having to have someone come and spray for them all the time. So we're going to see if that'll work. We have a tree back there, and like the shoots from the tree grow quickly. I like to come outside and sit and not be accosted by spiders and mosquitoes and bees. And it seems like every time I go outside, like hornets find me or wasps, and that's exhausting. But I'm right here right now and there's no mosquitoes right here, so that's nice. And number 5 is struggling with health goals. I really have been struggling with that for a while, and it's on me. Like I have to be the one to deal with it and to say, no, I'm not going to eat the chips. I have a problem with chips. Salt lately is the thing, but recently I also, it's like salt, fat, and sugar. It's kind of, I did not realize that I was a stress eater necessarily. But it turns out I am, and also like a binge problem. Like I'll go a long time without eating something, and then when I do eat something, then I want to eat something else. And I really have to work on that because I've lost a lot of weight, which I need to talk about in a longer format, but I don't want to gain it back. And it's really important to me that I feel better than I did when I was heavier, and that I can walk over to the pool and it doesn't feel like a lot of work walking there. And I want to continue to feel that way, and even better if I can. So it's really important to me. And I don't know why If it's that important to me, why am I doing things to sabotage myself with it? So, that's something I need to have a talk with myself about, but I am going to commit. I'm going to commit to it. So let's talk about how to deal with this stuff. So number one, with the job search, you're gonna have to treat it like a job in itself, like make yourself a schedule. And at the beginning of the week, I'll sit down and make a schedule. Kind of like it's kind of a loose schedule. Like on Mondays, I like to apply for things that I've seen like throughout the week that I didn't get a chance to apply for because maybe they were more in depth and I wanted to spend more time crafting a cover letter and tailoring a resume. So those things are important to me. I have been blanketing my industry with applications, focusing on roles that I am genuinely interested in and think I'll be great at, but also keeping in mind that I need a plan B. I spend some time during my coffee time each morning brainstorming ideas about what the plan B might be, and keep an eye on the plan A. You have a worst case scenario plan, but you also have to keep in mind that you have to talk to the people who that plan affects. As far as number two, navigating the unknown, I think this is one of the actually easier things to manage. It's annoying and I hate it, but there's no secret sauce. You just have to do it. You just have to dive in and face it. Schedule a block of time to get that stuff done. Don't let it drag on all week. Like, give yourself a block of time to deal with that stuff. Calling the unemployment office if you need to, or dealing with the insurance things. Just dive in and get it done so it's not hanging over you all week. And you can get on to more fun things because it's important to do fun stuff too. So sometimes you might get lucky when you're making those phone calls and you get somebody who's super helpful. That happened to me last week. And putting it off just increases your worry time. So let me take my own advice and deal with the stuff that's yucky early on so you don't have to deal with it later. Just put it on the calendar and get it done. It's number three, navigating the emotions. There's a lot of positive self-talk that you have to do. When you're questioning yourself and those negative things come up, just push it down and ask yourself, well, is that true? And when I have interviews that didn't work out, I'm like, well, what is it that I did wrong? Am I not qualified for that job? No. No, I am qualified for that job. It's just, it wasn't my job. It was somebody else's job. And you just have to get to a point where that's what you understand life to be, because you can't get every job. Other people need jobs too. And, maybe there have been times in my life when I've been upset that something didn't work out. But if you hold on, it always works out in the end, I think. And you're better off for it. And you're better off for going through those hard times that gave you some character and helped you develop a sense of resilience, because you can't only be happy when things are good. You have to roll with the punches and realize that life is like that and not everything is going to go your way all the time. And I'm really telling myself that and trying to teach my kid that too, because she is, she's getting ready to go to college and she's just on the precipice of becoming who she's going to be. And I want her to know that it's not all sunshine and roses all the time. And as hard as you want to try to make it that way, it's just not. And you have to be okay when things aren't okay. And I got to take a page from my own teachings in that. And it's hard to, because I'm really hard on myself. And I don't know, I guess I hold myself to maybe sometimes hold myself to an accountability that maybe is unfair to myself once in a while. But it's all part of being a person and developing your character. With the interrupted stuff, with your life being interrupted, you just need to make plans for things that you can and plan the things that you can do. I can reorganize my pantry. I can move things around to better work for our family. It's, and last year, maybe earlier this year, we had some work done. No, it was last year. Some work done to our floor because the washer had leaked and damaged some of the floor. So we got the flooring fixed, the subfloor, but we didn't do anything. There's just a spot where it's subfloor now because we didn't redo that part of the floor because we didn't have the original flooring, and we want to redo the flooring anyway. So the guy who fixed it for us was like, so when they redo the floor, and I was like, yeah, dude, they is me and my infinite experience of laying floors. I have none, but I think I'm going to learn eventually. So I'm just going to figure out what I can do for myself and try to work toward that. The floors are terrible, but I do have a carpet cleaner. I can try to clean the carpet again and just keep things as clean as possible and address them as I can. So that's my plan for that. I'm going to control what I can. That's what I'm going to do. And so struggling with my health goals, that was the 5th thing that I had on the list. And I made some notes about that too. So let's see. So I'm going to make a commitment to do better. And that's all I can do. But I do have to commit to myself. And sometimes that's not as, you don't hold yourself as accountable because it's like, I'm not answering to anybody but myself and nobody's going to know. So here's the thing though. I'm going to make a commitment and I'm talking about it right now. So you see that I'm making this commitment and you'll know because I'll probably tell you because I'm pretty honest about stuff. So I am going to commit to myself to do better and to get my protein and to cut out the crap that's not serving me or my body or my health goals. And I hope you'll come with me on this journey and treat yourself well too. If you want to be in on it, that's awesome. Like and subscribe and comment down below and tell me what you're working on. If you have any favorite proteins, let me know what they are and I'll see if I can come up with a menu based around that. I'm planning this week to have a pool day for myself on Friday, and I have a menu that I worked up, a pool day menu, so I'll share that too. But I'm gonna commit to this, and in June I'm planning to post something somewhere every day. Something somewhere every day. So that also pushes me to get all the social stuff, all the social media things integrated into this channel and make it visible. So that's what I'm working on. And also controlling what I can. And that's really all I have today, guys. I hope you have a great day. Right now, I'm going to drink my shake and go apply for some jobs and try to enjoy the weather a little bit because it is beautiful out today and the pool's unlocked. So I might go over there and see how the water is. Okay, have a great day, everybody, and I hope you're hanging in there. Join me on my health journey.